Hello, wonderful people. While everybody's connecting, I want to say good morning, good day, good afternoon, whatever's the time of a day in your place, okay? Please introduce yourself. You know, there's a chat, right? If you're on a YouTube, it's either below or right on the side. So please introduce yourself, where you're watching from. I would really appreciate. And good to see you people again. And today is going to be really interesting time. Yes, I'm still working on the same project, pretty much. One of the pieces done, but it's still the same project, almost done. Eliyahu, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Eliyahu. James, good to see you. And let me see. Let me know if Facebook is showing really well. YouTube, no problems, sound-wise, and so on. By the way, I have to just get rid of that background music. I don't want you hear just the music. Let me know if everything is good. Joe from Ohio, good to see you. Well, not really, because I really don't see you, but you know what I mean, okay? Now, let me see if people connected on a Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Also, it's going to go on a multiple YouTube channels, and that's going to be on a multiple pages. But if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, I highly recommend you to go on YouTube. Okay, on YouTube, much better quality, bitrate is much better, and usually there's no problem. And you can just chat. Well, you can comment on any platform. I'm going to be able to see it, but it's better on YouTube. That would be youtube.com/Grabovetskiy. Okay, if you're watching on Frank's YouTube channel, he's gonna tell you later his channel once I'm gonna show him to you people. Okay, Delilah, good to see you. Bernie, good to see you. All right, all is well on YouTube. I can see that. Trevor, you gonna be one of the next ones. Okay, we just spoke with Frank, did an interview with you. Good to see you. I hope Austin is still good. The weather is much better than it was when I was there about like a couple weeks ago. And I'm doing wonderful, okay? That's to answer your question. Now, Nate, hello. Don't forget, it's always interesting where you're watching from. Like last stream, we had people from New Zealand, from Africa, from Europe, and I mean, of course, multiple guys from Canada and United States and South America. But it's always interesting to read those comments from all over the world. I know some people watched from India. All right. Well, David from Northern California, and I hope you still like my accent. Now, wonderful people, I want to introduce you one of the best, and yes, I know what I'm saying, one of the best, or should I say fine furniture makers in the world. Okay, his name is Frank, and some of you probably already know him and maybe watched some of the videos he's done. He is somewhat famous. Well, I shouldn't even say somewhat, because he is pretty much famous guy. At least guys in White House using his furniture. Okay. Well, he actually had to fix my Russian accent. When I when I scheduled that stream, I forgot to put H in the word with, okay, with the Frank Strazza. And he said I have to fix it, but it was on purpose. It was my Ruski accent, okay, my Russian accent. And I keep my accent even when I'm writing. But just for him, I did it, okay? I just fixed that. But anyway, his name is Frank Strazza. And like I said, he is one of the best woodworkers. And today, he's not only going to answer my questions, he's going to show you some stuff, okay? He's going to show how he does work, okay? Of course, he is one of the guys who really don't like noise in wood shop. He likes to use hand tools. He likes to use just like a 18th century style approach in his work. But in his shop, I saw some of the machinery. Okay, I still saw it. I don't know why he's muted right now. Just to shows he's muted. I hope he's gonna unmute in a second. Okay, but let me introduce him. Okay, Frank, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. Okay, just make sure you're not on mute. You just show unmuted. Hold on. Just in case if you don't know what I'm doing, I'm trying to send him a message that his camera is muted. All right. Can you see it? Frank. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Okay, how about now?
Now it's wonderful. Okay. Okay, Frank. Oops, you muted again. What is going on? I can't hear you. Try to reconnect, Frank, okay? Can you hear me? Okay, let's try to reconnect. But I can't hear you. Okay, I can't hear you. And people probably don't hear you also as well. All right, let's disconnect and dial again.
Mute this. Okay, so you...
I can hear you now. Oops, mute it again.
We're going to try something because it was working great earlier, right?
Yes, it was, and that works right now. Oh,
except just, we have the echo.
The echo because you have to turn down the live stream.
Yeah, select the other one in the green room.
Okay, let the other... How about now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Can you let the other camera out of the green room?
Yes, absolutely. Here you go. But it's still mute. I mean, it's muted.
Yep.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, how about now?
That's good. Wonderful. Okay, good. Wonderful. All right, okay. Frank. So good to see you, Frank. Okay.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks.
Oh, that's okay.
As Alex was saying, I do better with 18th century tools than I do with computers.
Yes. Well, not necessarily. We did it. We tested everything, and it worked fine. But sometimes, you know, it's just I don't know what happens. And I usually do live streams. I check everything. I check my connections, my audio, and just right in the middle of the stream, something happens. Just like supernatural almost. But anyway, Frank, good to see you again. Although I saw you, but good to see you. And people, let me tell you something. When I was teaching in Texas, Austin, great city of Austin, I should say that way. Frank lives about 2 hours away from Austin, also in Texas, okay? But he came at night just to have a dinner with me, and it means a lot. It means a lot. So he was just driving 2 hours, then we went to dinner, ate, and that was like around 10 p.m., I'd say, right? About 10 p.m. when you left. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then you had to drive back 2 hours just for dinner. So that means a lot. I really thank you very much. Okay, let me see. Some people commenting here. Wonderful. So, wonderful. Everything is working on YouTube, working on Facebook. There's a good sound and so on. Frank, let me ask you a first question. All right. Before we're going to jump to work, I want to ask you, why do you do woodworking?
You know, I started woodworking when I was quite young. When I was about, I think my first introduction to woodworking was actually in the basement of my great grandfather's shop in Greenwich, Connecticut. And the story goes that I actually built a little stool, and I actually have that. But then I got more interested later on, and then started doing work in my teens, and then did an apprenticeship. And I've always just loved woodworking, and I get to create every day, and that's, I think, a very rewarding thing.
Wonderful. I do have one question from some of the people. I'm not sure if you're able to catch that or not, but one question: what you
I
learned
see
from
it. Yes,
Paul Sellers? Can you tell a little
yes,
that?
absolutely. I learned I started an apprenticeship with a man by the name of Mark Schwennison, and I did like an apprenticeship with him, and then I did a journeymanship with Paul. So I worked with Mark for about 3 to 4 years, and then I went and worked with Paul, and I actually got to work with Paul for about 8 years, and that was an amazing experience because Paul taught me a lot about hand tools, joinery, traditional methods of joinery. So that was just a wonderful experience, and learned an immense amount from Paul.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, Frank, I do have a question. Okay,
Sure.
is woodworking in your family? Your father, grandfather, or anybody else in your family did woodworking or no?
You know, what's interesting about that is my great grandfather on my mom's side was a home builder, as I mentioned, in Greenwich, Connecticut. And then my grandfather on my father's side was also, he did like cabinets and remodels and things like that in New York. So, yes, yeah, it's in the family. It skipped a generation, but I've picked it back up.
All right. So, Frank, is that okay if I'm gonna show some of the pictures?
Oh, sure.
Okay, and I do
Yeah.
have a special question for you. I asked
Okay.
that question this morning, but let me get to those pictures. Hold on just a second. All right, one of the pictures what I want to show. Hold on, what's going on? All right, just a second, right there. Okay. Uh,
Oh, look.
yes, yes, yeah. That is really interesting. Okay, for me it's interesting because probably some of you guys recognize who's right in the corner. Okay, leaning against some of the furniture. Can you tell us why I did show that picture?
Well, it was somewhat, this was quite a chance of a lifetime, and certainly an honor to get to participate in this project. But there was several of us that actually worked together to build, including Paul Sellers, but we all worked together and built the two cabinets that you see there in the picture right behind President Obama, the
Mm-hmm.
one there on the left and then the one on the right. So they were matching mesquite cabinets, all made out of book matched mesquite burl. We used some inlay. If you There's another picture, you probably saw it earlier, but with some of the inlay. But there's ebony next to some white oak, and the oak actually came from a tree from the White House north lawn. So there was like a branch that had come off of the tree, and they sent that to us, and we milled it up and used that for the inlay around the doors.
Uh-huh.
And then the mesquite obviously is a Texas wood, but it's a book match burl. We actually, what we did on those pieces, we actually that's actually walnut, walnut chair that I did, but in that picture. But on that mesquite, we resawed the mesquite into thick veneers. And then I say thick, they were probably about 3/32 thick, and
Mm-hmm.
then overlaid them on top of solid mesquite. So they're all solid wood. Mesquite is probably one of the most stable North American hardwoods, in that it shrinks equally in its width and its length, which is quite unusual for most woods. Most woods just shrink only, as you know, only in the width.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the shrinkage is extremely minimal, so it makes for a great material for doing, as a substrate, and then of course overlaying veneers on top of it. It's a very stable wood.
Sure. Okay, let me show something else. I've got like tons of different pictures.
Okay.
So you are a talented man. So what's going on with those chairs?
So this, my interest in woodworking are quite broad and varied. As you'll see, I go from doing some fine inlay to green woodworking. This was some ladder back chairs are made out of green woodworking. I started with a white oak log, split the wood. Those are woven hickory bark seats. So all of those chairs were made as a whole set of chairs. They were all made from split white oak in the traditional green wood style of chair making.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Okay, let me actually just top up some more pictures. I'm not gonna
Sure.
show all of them, but some really, really, really fine work what you do. Some
Thank
beautiful,
you.
beautiful pieces.
That
And
means a lot coming from you because your work is very inspiring.
yep,
Your work is, it's an honor to be on your show because you're really an amazing craftsman.
yep. Thank you very
So,
much. Means a lot for me also. Uh, it's beautiful joinery. That's what you do. That's for sure. And there's one picture. You're working on a tabletop. Looks like it's a tabletop.
yeah, that was, if you go back, I don't know if you can go back to the other picture, but you can see that was the tabletop for that previous picture. And this, um,
Is that the
but
same? Oh,
that,
this one.
no, it's not the same. That one there, you can see there's a tapered sliding dovetail that actually goes all the
Oh
way
yes,
through
yes. I can
the
see it.
entire width. And that's all hand cut. That's a tapered sliding dovetail that helps keep that top flat, and that was hand cut for the entire
Sure.
width of that table.
Yeah, and I can see some really beautiful pieces of furniture, and there's some
That's
details. Oh,
yeah, that's mahogany with sapelli and a lot of inlay, holly inlay, and some marquetry and lots of work in that piece.
uh,
Probably about 450 hours or more in that piece right there, at
oh
least.
wow. And I've got other angle for this piece.
Yeah, that's the traditional French style of marquetry. I used a tool that I built called a chevalet for doing those roses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different, and then the bellflowers were all inlaid as well in holly.
Right. And that tool is actually in your shop, right? I mean, if you just turn the cameras today, you can probably show that. Is it
Yeah,
possible?
I was going to show you some, if you don't mind, I'll show you some of what I'm working on in the
Sure.
shop now. And then we'll just move the camera. I'll move the camera over here and I'll show you what I'm working on. And then I'll do a little demonstration and do some joinery. And then I do a little bit of marquetry as well if we've got time. So,
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
There's some people, they actually really excited.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me introduce you my apprentice here. This is Buck.
Hello, Buck.
And he's
Hey,
been
Alex.
he's been helping in the shop and an amazing apprentice. So he's going to be running the camera, and you'll see him, and I'll shout at him if the camera angle isn't right. So,
Sure.
but so this is actually what I've been doing a lot of lately is these workbenches, and this one is going to a client. This is solid European beech with sapelli accents. This is a high vise, and I use bench crafted hardware. So you can see this is all string. This is sapelli, which is an African wood, and this is holly that's actually inlaid all around the edge. And then this lettering is all hand cut,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
double bevel marquetry, so it's cut at an angle so there's no gaps in there. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how I actually do that. But that's all, that's all hand cut. And then, of course, this bench is still in the construction phase, but it's all mortise and tenon. The best thing about these benches is how smooth this front vise works, and you can see it just works beautifully, and it clamps equally as well. Let me show you here.
It's the best hardware, isn't it? I mean, for the benches.
Isn't it great? Yeah, it's the best hardware. Like, look at how tight that is.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just amazing. It's so smooth, and so every part of this bench is thought through. From this part here, this is called a sliding dead man.
Mm-hmm.
For you put the pegs in there to help support long pieces. So anyway, that's what I'm working on here, and the dovetails here. These dovetails are all hand cut. These are needlepoint houndstooth dovetails. So needlepoint in the sense that it comes essentially to a needle. There's no machine that can reproduce that to that fine because that width is about the width of the saw curve. So
Yeah.
I'll show you what it actually looks like inside this joint right here, and then I'm going to show you some needlepoint dovetails. But here's what it looks like, and that's all obviously all hand cut and hand chiseled.
Wow.
Um,
It's an English style, isn't it? That's what
Yeah,
sharpening.
it is very much so, very much English style. Because if you look at a lot of antique English furniture, you'll find that they always do the needle point there, and people often think that it's weak, but it's, as you can see, once this piece is connected all the way to the back. So, and here it's very stable, and the
Can you
fact that
bring
you
the
have
camera
this.
a little closer? Can you just do it a little closer for we can see it? Here you go. Wow, look at that. It's a real needle. Yes.
And here's the fine one, the miniature one.
Oh wow.
See that?
Uh, People who's watching that on YouTube and Facebook, don't forget to hit the like button, okay? Because it's hey, it's beyond like.
So if you have a moment, I'll show you how I cut some dovetails, and I'll do some needlepoint dovetails.
All right.
Okay. So I'm back at the bench here, and I'm just going to do a quick demonstration on this dovetail. So I'm going to set up my cutting gauge to mark these, to mark this. How's the camera angles?
Really good.
Okay, good. So I'm just gonna I'm using this cutting gauge, and a lot of thought goes into, you know, this layout. I mean, I've done multiples of these, so I may make it look somewhat easy, but this tool here is I'm using as a cutting gauge, and it's got to be super sharp in order for me to make a really fine line. And so I'm just going to mark those corners there. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see.
Getting old,
And
huh?
I know this is the problem with getting old. So I can't see anymore. I can't see the lines. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm just darkening that line so that I can actually see it. And I'm going to use this dovetail saw. I got this dovetail saw for like $10 on eBay. And of course, I sharpened it up, and it's one of my favorite dovetail saws. So I'm cutting the angles here. I'm going to cut the two outside ones, and I didn't mark any angles on here. This is totally done by eye. I'm going to divide this up by eye, although you could use a dividers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to.
While you just adjust that, James is saying it's a big blessing for people to have opportunity to learn as apprentice.
Yes. Okay, so now cutting this angle here. Now, this is how we get the needle. You'll notice that I'm going to set the saw right inside that curve, and then come down here and work this side. Oops. And then work
I like that
side.
sound.
So you can see.
I like the sound of oops.
Right.
I do that all the time.
Right, exactly. So now I'll come in here with the coping saw and just cope out that waist right there. So you can see how fine that little piece is. See how fine that is?
Wow.
That's the waist. And then we'll just come here and cut out that one. And mind you, again, I didn't put any angles. All those angles are cut by eye.
Well, you're used to it already, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're used to it. I mean, you don't have to measure it.
Somebody mentioned, we were talking about Paul Sellers. I learned that from Paul. I cut many dovetails with Paul. Okay, so I'm cutting the two outside pieces
Oh,
now.
by the way, I'm timing you. You know that, right? So I want to make sure you're just
Yeah.
up to Frank name, because there's another Frank who's doing it in 2 minutes.
Right. Well, that's funny. Okay,
You know that,
so
right?
There's yes. Oh, yes. Frank Clouts. Yes, he's a great. Yeah, great guy. Okay, so now I've cut a little bit above the line, so I'm going to come back with the chisel and just go right to to the line there. And the thing is you'll notice I'm just the chisel will fall right into that line.
Right. There's a question, about Frank Klaus. Okay. Do you do dovetails using continental way also? Ever tried that?
Oh, you mean is that referring to cutting the pins first? Is this
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did that early on. That was the way I first started doing it, and then my master Mark actually did them tails first, and I never looked back after doing it that way. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so now I'm just going to put this on here, and then transfer. Going to make sure it's lined up, right? It's got to be lined up right. And I'm going to grab a knife to transfer those. So I'm going to go get a tool. So I'll be right back. They actually might like to see my tool chest.
Yeah, I can see it, but it's kind of far. But
Buck will just bring the camera closer so you can see it. I built this a number of years ago, but it's it's a kind of, I guess, almost like a large machinist chest, if you will, but with the top part there. Got my planes, some saws, and then of course the drawers for the chisels and just miscellaneous tools. And it's not as organized as I see some people's chests. Like you could see, I just have a variety of tools, but anyway, it works. And this is all hand cut. This is inlaid. These fans are inlaid curly maple, and they're sand shaded.
Mm-hmm.
And this is ebony that's cut out there, and then the stringing, the dovetails on the side of the drawers. Of course, it's all hand cut and stuff. So
yeah, Clarissa is saying amazing. Love to watch woodworking done with hand tools, such craftsmanship and artistry. Hey, I can see your name right there.
yeah, I cut that out. Actually, that is the waist cut from when I do the marquetry. That was actually the waist cut for the inlay that I'll show you, which is right over here.
So you're doing a sandwich approach.
Exactly, and that's this part right. This is actually wood that's inlaid into there, and I'll show you that in a moment.
Sure, absolutely. Oh, look at that! Isn't it beautiful? Gorgeous.
So back to these dovetails. So these needlepoint dovetails, it's a little bit difficult to actually transfer these accurately because they're so fine. So what I do is I use this really thin knife, and this is like just a box cutter knife, and
it's not 18th century knife.
No, it's not. I know it. This is like actually 21st century knife.
It's a faking.
that I got at Home Depot of all places.
Yeah.
So they didn't. Did they have Home Depot back in the 18th century?
No. It's a smart knife. It's a smart knife,
yeah, exactly,
like a smartphone. Right.
So now you probably can't see in the camera, but I've marked those lines, and now being that they're needlepoint dovetails, I'm going to. Being that they're half blind dovetails, rather, I'm going to cut at an angle. Okay, so of course I'm going to bring the light down just a little bit so I can actually see my line.
Steve is saying about the Home Depot. It was Cabin Depot.
There you go. Okay, so cutting all of these, and you'll notice cutting these at an angle.
Amazing. I love it.
And then we'll just go over to the other side here. Now that we've got those cut, we'll just come over here and chisel them out. So I'm going to just move the camera so that everybody can see this side over here. And I'll chisel these out. And this goes pretty fast, so So while I'm setting this up, what are you working on, Alex?
Hey, I'm still working on the same piece pretty much. You know what I was working a year ago. It's a Venetian
Wow.
style yet. It's I'm not sure if you're going to be able to catch that on the camera or not. That is
Oh
just
my
one
goodness.
of the details, okay? One of the
Wow.
details. But I'll show you. While you're setting up, I'll just let me show pretty much where it goes. So you saw that drawing before, right? I posted that
Yes,
drawing on
yes.
Instagram. Most of
Okay.
it's actually done. Overall, it's about 10 feet long. I mean, not long, but high. So, and it's
Wow.
also available on schoolofwoodcarving.com. I mean, I'm just filming that everything. So that part is done. And this part, I'm not sure if you're going to catch that. That part is also done. And the piece I'm working on, it's actually going right there. Okay.
That's
So
amazing.
that is right there. And if you want to see all together how I put that stuff together, let me get rid of that paper. Hold on just a second. All right. So that is the piece. And let me get the white background for you people, for you just to see much better, because Frank likes white background, I guess. Okay. There's multiple pieces. Okay. There's multiple pieces, like a small
Wow.
pieces. They go
Oh my
together.
goodness.
You know, some of the stuff you just have to apply on a panel, and that stuff can be used on furniture anywhere. But this piece goes like this, right on
Wow.
top of it. But unfortunately, you don't see. Let me actually get a different view. Okay. So limitation of my workbench. My workbench is smaller than yours. So, but you can imagine this goes like this, and below that, there's gonna be another rosette going like that. Okay. So I'm not sure if you're gonna able to see
That's
that on the
amazing.
camera or not, but
Yeah.
it goes like that. And there's gonna be some more stuff, you know, going on all the way. Like I said, it's a 10 feet long, and those details they're gonna be applied on a background. I mean, backboard, I should say. I'm not sure. Should I say background or backboard?
Background is nice.
Background. I mean, I shouldn't say it's going to be plywood because, you know,
Right. Exactly.
but there's going to be solid background. Okay, so those going to be
Wow.
applied.
Man, I have to say, I was telling Buck, I feel like a hack looking at your work. Like literally, I mean, I feel like just a beginner or just like a rough carpenter after looking at your work. It's amazing. It's
Oh,
absolutely amazing.
thank you. But you're doing a fine work yourself. But anyway, I start with just a solid board pretty much. I mean, you can see that if I'm going to just put that right there. That is the opposite side. Exactly the same piece, but flipped like that. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. And I started to just band sewing this morning. Not this morning, but just like about an hour ago or so. And I have to just to
Sure.
do that. And I also film it. Okay. I am filming that for a schoolofwoodcarving.com, so you're going to be able to watch it. And you member of my school, so you know it's worth to watch it, right? So you like my school,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So it's going to be right there.
Yeah,
All of those details right there. So, like
yeah,
I said, my school is not about small hobby projects. It's actually real life projects. Okay,
yeah.
so you pretty much like you have apprentice. I have apprentices in my shop pretty much 24/7. They're watching over
Yeah,
my shoulder. So that's
exactly.
I mean that's what I'm working on to answer your question. And I hope you
Yeah,
like it,
that's
people. Okay.
yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, it's really inspiring. Very, very inspiring to see that.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
People, did you see
Uh,
those hearts? Don't forget to hit like right now, okay? Please. All right.
if
Let me
you
show that one
switch
more
to
time.
this, if you switch to the other camera, you'll be able to see up close what I'm doing.
Oh, yes,
Um,
absolutely. Yes, right there.
there you go. So I'm actually just going to chisel out the waist here, and this goes fairly fast. So I've created a stop line um, in the back, and now I'm just going to chisel this out. Hopefully the noise isn't too loud.
Oh no, it's good. It's good.
Okay, so you'll notice now I'm going to keep the bevel down, and if you
Can you
know
get
which way to work.
Can you get a little closer with the camera, just slightly? We want to see a little more inside. Amazing.
Okay. So now I'm just going to come in here and just take this off here. So I'm taking the corners out like this, and then coming up like this, right?
Yeah.
And then I create this mountain peak. So I'll come in here like this, and then work the back. And of course, the chisel's got to be super sharp, but also the technique too. You know, there's different techniques that I'm using for this. Bevel down forces that chip up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I'm just going to come in here, working down to that baseline.
Don't mess it up.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's got to fit for the camera. See, this is live. This is a live show, so there's no editing that can be done with this.
Yep. It's all live. It's true.
No editing. So now I'm just going to come in there, and you'll notice too that see how that bevel with the bevel down, it forces that chip up.
Yep.
Of course, you know all this, but those that are watching that aren't familiar with dovetails. But being that I cut this at an angle like this, so I cut this like this at an angle, there's still some material that's caught in there that I have to now pare away. So I'll come in here and start just paring that, working the sides.
Perfect.
And then come in like this.
Here
Of course, the
wood carving.
right, exactly.
It is.
Undercutting it.
Using chisel.
Of course, I'm pushing the chisel. I'm not slicing it like I should be, right?
Yes. You got that point,
But,
right?
right.
Hey,
so
we know what we're talking about, right, Frank?
yes.
It took only half an hour to get that slicing cut.
Okay, so now just working this sides right in here like this. Okay, so I'm actually going to be teaching a class in Florida that the end of this month. I think there's one spot left in it. It just opened up because somebody canceled.
In Tampa,
but,
right?
I'm in Tampa at the Florida School of Woodwork.
Right there.
And,
I've got the website right here.
Oh, super.
Yep.
So in that class, we're actually going to be making an end table, and I'm going to be teaching half-blind dovetails. So we're going to make a drawer in that class, a drawer for the table. And okay, so you see what I'm doing here very carefully. You've got to take the chisel and follow it up so that it lands inside that cut. See that? So it just kind of jumps inside that cut, and then you go straight in. Same way here, just bring it up to where it falls right in there. And that's why, you know, having a good sharp cutting knife for marking this is really important, because the actual chisel will fall into that cut. Okay, taking it, see how it jumps in there, and then just go straight in. So I'm almost done, and then we'll fit this together. And you guys can see how it actually, and you'll see too on some of the furniture pieces. Well, I mean, I showed you the houndstooth dovetails,
Yes.
but it's all done the same way. You know, this is done the same way. And I've done all of this with just this 5/8 chisel. I'll come in here.
Hold on just a second, Frank. I've got the question from Krishna. Okay.
Okay.
The question is, what type of stones do you use for sharpening your chisels?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so I use the method that Paul taught me was using diamond stones, but I also use an oil stone after the diamond stone. So I'll use a series of diamond stones, and then I'll use a hard translucent oil stone. and then a very light stropping. So, I mean, there's lots of different ways, as people know. You know, it's more about the technique of sharpening than it is about the stones, because the you know, you can use water stones, you can use you know, the ceramic stones. There's lots of different stones, but it's more about the technique. And I probably should do another video on that to just kind of show people exactly how that's done, because
Oh
it's
yes,
really,
absolutely.
yeah. And I teach that in the classes too that I teach. You know, so when I teach in Florida, I'll teach that as well. So that's done, right? So now I can go move that over to the other side, and I might just clean this up just a little bit. Okay, so now we'll just move the camera over here, and okay, so this is the moment of truth, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
So,
people, while he's moving everything, you know, don't forget, you know, when you're watching that stuff, there's right there the like button, okay, and also subscribe button. All right, so just do that, okay, please. Really important. Not that important, but for Google to show that it is important. All right.
yeah,
Am I right?
absolutely. And then they can find my channel as well. If they're watching on your channel, they can find my channel where I'll post occasionally, not enough. I don't post as much as you do, but and I need to post more. But it's just simply Strazza Furniture, and
Sure.
that's where I think that's my channel, or is it might be under my name, Frank Strazza. I
Uh,
think it's just Strazza Furniture. I should double check that.
I'm gonna post that the link right below the video. Okay. Also.
Okay, so as you can see, here we are tapping it together. First time, no pairing or anything. This should just go straight together. And what I might do is just add a little piece to support it. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of support to make sure that it doesn't totally blow out. So then I can put the support here.
Yeah. People
There
really
it
love
is.
it. They saying it's a great to watch demo at regular work speed. It's not just like
Right.
edited stuff. Like in 1 second
Exactly.
and everything is done.
And then there's the chance that that a mistake can happen too, right?
Yep.
so
Especially live.
so right, exactly. Um, but yeah, then I'll take the plane, right, and you'll see it just comes alive. You know, it just comes alive here.
No gaps.
No gaps.
All by
I'll let
eye.
Buck zoom in on the camera so you can see if there's any gaps. He'll bring the camera up really close.
Yes.
Okay,
Please do.
there we go.
Oh, look at that. Did you use any
So
fillers?
for scale,
Wow.
that's it. There's yeah.
Hold on. Let me
So of
let me
course.
hit that like button. Okay. Hold on just a second. I want to hit myself right there. That's my love button.
I love it. Okay. So
Wow.
that's
Hey, people comment about it. Okay. So it's just really important for ego.
so
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
so one of the things that when I'm doing a piece of furniture is I'll cut that joint, right, and I won't test it. I'll just put glue on it and then hammer it together. And that's really what you want to be able to do. But I think I cut my first dovetails when I was 11 years old, so that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it takes time. I want to show you real fast. If we have a minute, I'm going to show you
Oh,
how I
of
do
course.
some of
Yes.
the lettering, and I just have like one letter here to cut out. But Marquetry is actually dates back to the Italian Renaissance, and my family is from Italy originally, so you know, several generations back. So I think that's truly in my blood. And I really like doing the double bevel marquetry method, which basically I take two veneers. If you'll just hand me those veneers there. So I take two veneers and I put them together. So these are sawn veneers. So I'll take this and I'll cut it out of solid wood.
It's
And
about millimeter and a half, right? About 1/16 of an inch.
exactly, that's about right. Yes, about a little heavier than about a 16th, or like you said, about a millimeter and a half in thickness. And I bring it down to where it's all the same. I've got cocobolo and holly, both of
Mm-hmm.
those woods. And there's different ways to do this. So like I'm working on a piece here that I've been working on for way too long, and I need to finish it. But it's true double bevel marquetry. So I'll show you. I start with an art piece here, which was created by an artist. It's a watercolor of a guy on a horse. It's a cowboy here. It's a lovely piece, and I'm recreating it in marquetry. So you can see this is in reverse here. But
Oh,
if you
wow.
zoom in, you can see these are all different pieces of wood.
Can you get the
Um,
camera closer a little bit?
So you can see, like, even with the belt buckle of the hat there, you have one piece there, then another
Even
piece, and
closer.
another piece there, another
Wow.
piece there, another piece there. Fine line. All of this is all hand cut. Another little piece there, all of that, and then I've got, like I've got the horse's head right here, and you can see like the little dot for the eye and then the fine line, and that's really what makes really fine marquetry is being able to piece all of this. It's like the true term for this is painting with wood, and that's what essentially you're doing is you're taking little pieces of wood and you're painting, essentially taking those pieces of wood to create a three-dimensional
Yeah. And the
art.
Italians, they really good about it. They used to be really the best in 15th and 16th century. Uh,
Absolutely.
and we talked
Yeah.
about that book you showed me. It just shows the culture in Italy back then. It was just one of the best, and
Oh,
it's
it's amazing.
amazing.
It's so inspiring to go and see and to look at the artwork. I'm going to show you. I'm actually just doing one of my nameplates here that's going to be inlaid on the customer's bench.
Hmm.
He's obviously a grandfather, but I've already cut this out, and so I start. This is double bevel. So what I have here is I've got this piece that's angled. It's at about a I don't know. It might be 8 to 10 degree angle.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'm going to drill with a very, very, and you might zoom in here to see this, but you might see that this drill bit is really, really, really small. You can see it's just, let's see, here we go. Can you see how small that drill bit is? Yeah,
Wow.
excuse my dirty fingernails. But so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this at an angle. So I'm creating an entry hole, right? So I'm going to take an entry hole here. Then I'm going to take this fret saw, and the fret saw, I really like the fret saw just because it's it enables you to be able to do this by hand, and you can do this work with a scroll saw, with a powered scroll saw. But I like doing it by hand because there's just that hand to workpiece feel that you don't get with a machine. Anytime you introduce a machine, you kind of take that aspect out and you lose a control aspect
Yeah,
of
we
it.
can see
And
that scroll saw right behind you.
yeah, exactly, right.
On the
And I
side, that's
use that for
on the left side.
the rough pieces.
Yeah.
I use that for like more of a bulk cutting out. But when I want to do really fine work, I use this hand method, just again because you have that hand to workpiece connection. Now, if you'll notice, I'm cutting at an angle, and I want to cut this because I'm going to save the top part. So I want this to be at an angle.
Hmm.
So I'm creating a bevel. If I cut in the wrong direction, I'll have double the gap. But if I cut at an angle in the correct direction, the angle will actually take up the gap, and you'll see that here in a moment. So,
Frank, our friend Trevor asks, who makes those bits and blades?
oh, so I get them from a jeweler's supply. If you go to Rio Grande Jeweler's Supply, it's based out of New Mexico. You can find them online. Rio Grande, I believe. And I can send, if somebody wants to send me an email asking me, I can send you the size. Now the blades are Pegasus. It's a Swiss company, and they're the best. And this is a 2-aught. It's the finest blade that Pegasus makes. So even if I deviate from the line a little bit, because I'm, nervous because I'm in front of a camera, right, or distracted, it's okay. It'll still go together tightly because I'm cutting two pieces simultaneously, right?
Yeah, because of the bevel. Because of the bevel.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because of the bevel. Exactly. So, but the trick here is a really light cut with the saw. Just really light pressure. And then I've just worked this around, and you'll see here what happens. Get this all cut out.
Can you get the camera a little closer? Is that possible? Here you go.
So you can see, you can probably really see it. Those of you that are watching this on a big screen can see how bad I deviated from the line. But it will go together with no gap. And then, of course, nobody's going to know that I deviated from the line because the original marks are not going to be on there. Do you use carbon paper to transfer your patterns onto your workpiece?
Well, sometimes, okay, sometimes, not always. I'm not really a big fan of the carbon paper.
Okay.
The reason why, because it's just too dirty, okay, because it just creates too much mess once you're gonna smoosh it. But sometimes I do, like on this piece I did.
Okay.
On this piece I did because, graphite paper is actually better. Graphite paper
Okay,
much
yeah.
better.
That's what I use for doing the transfer in the Marquetry is graphite paper as well. I'll use carbon too, and then sometimes the white carbon, but it's really hard to get that really fine line with the carbon paper,
Yeah, yeah. But with wood carving is little different, okay? So with the wood carving, the fine line not really necessary until the last cut, because it's all 3D and you still gonna cut it away anyway, and that way you can just refine everything later with just a cut with the knife and so on.
Exactly. So you'll see here, Buck's going to bring the camera closer and you'll see how fine this is. Now, I've got to very carefully take this blade out without anything breaking or anything dropping on the floor. We've already spent some time on our knees looking for pieces because when they drop, that's what.
Oh, William Brown is watching also.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, here you go. I'm working on having Frank teach Marquetry in a main cost workshop, School of Traditional Woodworking in Camden, beautiful Camden. Hold on, people. Okay, let me just give you the website. I'm gonna also teach there. Okay, just a second.
Yes, that's it. Camden, I think it's the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful places in the country.
It is.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's a maincostworkshop.com. I'm gonna have 2 times classes this year. But Bill, good to see you on the stream.
Yeah, it's good to see. Good to see Bill.
Oh, by the way, people, wonderful people. Next week we're gonna have a live stream with Bill. Okay, so just keep an eye for the next week. He's gonna show his work. Amazing, amazing work. Also, he actually does 18th century furniture, and he carves eagles in a special tradition. I'm not gonna tell you what tradition that is, but it's one of the special approach. Purely American, okay? Purely American, okay? So I hope you're gonna like it. Oh, Frank, not too fast. We want to see what you're doing.
Okay. So what I've done here is I've cut this out, and I've now taken the top piece off, which is the waist, and so now we've got all of these negative spaces, and I'm going to now take my take some tape and put it on the back side of this to cover this up. So I'll take some tape, and then you're going to see, I'm going to lay the pieces in here, and you guys are going to see how Well, that letter that I just cut, let's see how well it fits. Okay, so there, that's this. So you'll see, I've got my letters. We'll bring the camera over here so you can see. There's all the letters right here, and these
Can
are
you
all
get a
cut
little
out.
closer?
Yeah. So these are all hand cut out, right? So I cut those out. All those little pieces are going to fit. This is a rose that I did. You remember that rose
Mm-hmm.
table? I think you showed a picture earlier. This is a rose that I did out of different wood. So, okay, let's take this piece here and let's bring it over here and see if it fits. So now this should fit
Moment of
directly in
truth.
here, right? And that fits in there nice. Of course, there's a black a paper pattern on there, but it fits in there nicely.
Yeah, once you're
Okay.
gonna sand it or scrape it, you're gonna scrape it, right?
Exactly. Yes, I'll definitely scrape it because that, and I put hide glue, hot hide glue on there.
Sure.
I'm going to fit the other ones in there so you can see. But I'll put hot hide glue, which tends to fill any tiny little gaps, and it's a great way to, it's a great way to fill the little gaps. Now you'll notice, like this B here, I'm going to have to put these pieces first in from behind, right? Because they're beveled the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you cut, they come up from the bottom. You see
Of
that, how
course.
that comes up from the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
So now that comes up there like this.
Yep. Wonderful. By the way, I forgot to tell you people, the person who asked that question, who makes the bits and blades, Trevor Davis, he is pretty much one of the best in instrument makers. So
Yeah,
he does
yes.
make violins and upright basses, cellos, and I'm gonna have a live stream with him also really soon. Okay, keep an eye. Really interesting. You're gonna
Yeah,
love it. Okay,
definitely.
and he
Yeah.
he actually was one of the best in the class I was teaching 2 weeks ago in Austin, and he was one
Yeah.
of those guys who finished pretty much not in the class, but at least in his shop. Amazing work. Just to keep an eye. Okay, keep an eye.
So you can see how fine and detailed this is, and it's kind of takes a little bit of patience to be able to get this to fit together right, and my big clumsy shaky hands.
Is that
But
18th century tool you're using to hold the
oh
pieces?
yes, absolutely.
All right.
But anyway, you can see how this goes together. There's lots of this that fits in. This will fit in like this. The I'll have to put in the pieces from the opposite side too. But all these letters will just go fit in there just like so.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that's how I do this
What about the
this
veneer?
work.
Are you resewing that yourself?
Yes, I resaw all of the veneer, and I much prefer to use sawn veneer as opposed to veneer that's available commercially.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because of the actual the integrity of the wood, because it's much better because of
Mm-hmm.
the thickness, but also the fact that it's sawn as opposed to sliced. So,
Okay.
but the thickness too, and that's traditional. That's traditionally how it was done, is with sawn um, veneer.
You resewed it
So
by hand, or are you using machine?
I've done
Benz.
it both ways. I have a big saw that I've used, but I also am trying to make a living at this, so I have a big bandsaw that I use as well.
Of course. Yeah, you can't spend too much time, but it looks really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So, and you see, as this goes together, I'll probably finish it here in a bit, but you'll see there how that all goes together. Even this little piece right here, the dot. Let's dot the I, and then we'll call it good, and then let's see. And you can go to my Instagram. That's where I'll post like a finished picture of this.
It's a
Let's see
Frank
if we can.
Strazza furniture, right?
It's just Strazza Furniture, yeah,
Oh, Strazza
on
furniture.
Instagram or even on Facebook. Facebook is Frank Strazza Furniture, yeah.
Did you lose it?
No, I still have it here. If you can
Okay.
back off just a second. I just have to find which angle it goes in, right? I think it goes like this. Yeah, everybody's just hold their breath. Don't breathe, everybody. Now, there it goes. There it goes. It's
There
in. We
you go.
dotted the I. Okay. so,
Yes, we
so
got it.
you can see, and now when you look at this piece here, you can see this piece. This was all done, and as you can see, all of this was cut out in the same way. And doing these really fine cursive letters is quite difficult.
Mhm.
So that's done in all the same way. But
That's really
there it
nice.
is.
That's really cool. You also doing you making workbenches, right?
Yeah, yes, that's what I've been doing quite a bit. And that's what this piece will actually go into is a workbench.
Okay, hold on. Let me
So,
show one of the workbenches you've done. Okay,
oh yes,
and maybe I just find some more workbenches. Some of the pictures for some of the guys who's actually uh, they ask you to build workbenches for them, and you can see the same idea. Their names. Okay, there's a Kyle. Okay, there's a multiple workbenches,
yes, yeah.
and you also do now violins. You just doing some instruments also, right?
Yeah, I'm not as good as good as Trevor, but I hope to be able to study with Trevor some. So, but violin making is quite a. I play cello, so it kind of just combines my love of music and my love of woodworking.
Oh, I love that picture. That's your marquetry. You did like you working on a violin.
Yes, exactly. I actually inlaid that on a workbench. You can see that on my website. There's a finished picture of that on my website
Oh,
under
I've
workbench.
got the picture. I've got the picture right there.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's all totally flat, and there's no paint, dye, or stain in that. The only way I modified the wood was by dipping the edges in hot sand to create somewhat of a burned effect. But all of that is natural wood and all hand cut and pieced together.
Wow, people, you have to like it. Okay, you really have to like it. Okay, if you're not gonna like it, I'm not gonna let you on my live streams.
Oh my.
So
Well, yeah. But your work is, like I said earlier, your work is extremely inspiring, and it's amazing. I want to someday when I grow up, I'm going to be able to carve like you, hopefully. So I got to start working through that school.
yeah, you have to. But let me hit the like button. Okay, hold on just a second. Right there. That's my love. Now, Frank, I do have a question for you. Okay,
Sure.
I do have a question. My question is, what do you like more, woodworking as a production or teaching? What you enjoy more? Because you teach also in multiple places. Those techniques. What you,
Yeah.
I mean, what you're getting more out? I mean, from just the projects or teaching?
That's a hard question because I think there's got to be a fine balance between both. Because the truth of it is I mean, I enjoy like creating pieces. I especially really fine detailed pieces. But I also enjoy teaching just because passing on the skills that were so generously passed on to me, but also being able to see the excitement and joy that people have when they actually create something of their own is that's a pretty amazing experience. And then all the wonderful people that I get to meet through teaching. So it's I can't pick one over the other. I think it's I enjoy both of them equally.
I see. Of course, and I understand exactly what you mean. First of all, limitation of time. Okay, when we teach in
Exactly.
person, let's say at schools, I mean 1 week, 2 week course, but still, it's still limitation. Some of the projects taking like long time, and people really have to be uh, in your shop if it's in person for a long time, and then you can just show all the tricks and techniques, or like I do online school. I just film everything. Just I mean, if I make mistake, it's right there. Well, I show how to fix it and so on. But I really do enjoy teaching. But my most what I like probably uh, when I'm working on a real project, and while I'm working on it, I am teaching, and then I see some of the people, they actually done it. Okay, I do have some people, they never carved before, but they doing it for a living right now. That
That's
is,
amazing.
it's amazing. Yes, I mean, some of the
Yeah.
people, they never touched a knife before, or gouge, or chisel before. One of the guys, he's actually one of the big uh, software engineers, like in a Google. He used to. He just burned out. He just tired of the computers and stuff like this, and he decided to just go a different route and carve. And that's what he does, because
Exactly.
it's not about how much you really make. It's what you're getting from what you do. What I'm talking about, it's for me at least, that's what I'm saying. I can do a
Exactly.
lot of stuff, and I can make a lot more money if it would be just for money's sake. Okay, I know how to
Exactly.
program, I know how to do the databases, and I know how to do other stuff also. But for me, the biggest joy, just the carving. And yes, I've done furniture, I've done millwork, I've worked for big customers, did the whole houses. We built houses. I used to build houses, used to be a builder also. I know what you're talking about, being just a carpenter. Okay, it's not just a carpenter, but anyway, the most
Right.
enjoyment is actually, for me, it's carving. But why I'm saying what I'm saying, when you carve alone, you alone, but when you teach, you
Exactly.
connect with people. In both
Exactly.
worlds, let's say when I'm teaching online, it's one thing, but when I'm going and teaching places, I meet new people. Okay, I meet
Exactly.
amazing people, like the guys watching right now, the instrument maker, the friend of yours,
Oh,
okay, Trevor.
right.
So he is
Yeah.
amazing guy, and I mean,
Right.
people who didn't watch that video, like I posted a couple weeks ago about that class, all
Yeah.
the music was live right in the class. All
Right.
right, that was right in the class. By the way, some of the people already signing up for the 2023. They want to get
Wow.
in class. Uh,
That's
they
awesome.
do. They do. Even if if the class is not open for for sign up, they already actually emailing, and they trying to get on board, because the 2022, most of the classes sold out. I don't know if the main class, when I'm gonna teach there, I know there was only 2 spots left. Okay, but it's
Wow.
gonna be in August when I'm gonna be there. So if you want to
Okay.
get on board, just jump right away, like Frank did
Yeah.
a couple years ago. He was afraid he's
Right.
not gonna get in a class, right?
Yeah. As soon as the class opened up, I jumped on it. So, yeah,
Okay,
that
Delilah
was
is
great.
asking Frank, please come to Mr. Brown's shop for inlay, and she's saying she's gonna
Ab-
sign up. She's gonna will,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
would love to come. I would love to go to that shop. That part of the country is amazing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
if you zoom in, if you change the camera view, you can see this kind of this. This is obviously the reverse of it, and I still have to put a couple more pieces in, but you can see how that fits together really nicely. So,
Oh yes, it is wonderful.
um, Holly and Coca-Cola.
Holly and Coca-Cola, yes,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, wonderful people. If you do have any questions, you don't have too much time, but you can ask now. Let me see. I probably, most likely, I missed a lot. Okay, just a second. Let me check. Yeah, of course, there's some of the questions in Russian, which I'm not going to ask because I doubt Frank understands that. All right. Uh, but yes, it was a wonderful stream. Yeah, it's actually just the question what you're working on right now. If it's going to be just like a jewelry's box or something, but you already said it's going to be a workbench.
Yes, this is going to be inlaid into the workbench. So it's just a. I like doing this. It's a great way to like personalize each individual project, and a lot of times, this is an heirloom piece. It's something that's going to be passed down from generation to generation, and to be able to, you know, personalize it for each individual is a great way to.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Uh, a lot of people watching that video, they actually wood carvers. They don't do per se like a general woodworking. They don't have the space to do for the machines and stuff like this. Is that something you can do, like let's say build a workbench for those people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I could absolutely. Um, they may have to wait a little while, but
Yeah, right.
but I would be happy to build somebody a workbench. And I mean, the truth of it is that a lot of this work can be done in, as you know, in a really small space, especially if you're working with hand tools. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Uncle from Texas is asking, I need some woodworking experience. So could you do my porch? I wonder if Frank could help me with that. Yeah, right.
That's
You
funny.
wish. uh, Frank, it was wonderful to have you. I mean, it's a really great live stream, and I hope we can do it more. I think
Absolutely.
that is a wonderful experience to just expose to other sides of woodworking, because it's woodworking, but a different side from what I do. Although I do some marquetry also, but it's not like I'm doing that every day. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm carving every day, and that would be wonderful to have you again.
Well, I'm very thankful that you brought me on it. Like I said, it really is an honor that you asked me to be part of the live stream because I really admire your work, your artistry, and your craftsmanship is amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. Don't disconnect. Okay, I'm gonna end right
Okay.
now. Wonderful
Okay.
people. Just to hug someone, smile at someone, say that you love them. Have a wonderful rest of your whatever day, morning, or night, and
Yeah.
put smiles on your face. Okay.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining.
All right. Wonderful. Let me finish it. Have a good